Hello, and welcome to me and my pile of trash. I have been desperately in need of redoing the studio that I work in. We live in a 2-bedroom condo, and I am lucky enough to use that second bedroom as an office. However, every time I walk in here, there's just boxes of crap everywhere, and it's not functional for what I'm doing. I have an Etsy shop and I make a ton of DIY videos, so I need to easily access my stuff. I also save a lot of trash, and I can't always think of ideas to do with my trash right away, so I need a storage system to keep my trash organized while I wait for myself to think of ideas. And hopefully this situation will make me happier, more organized, more productive, smarter, prettier, everything. I need something to change or I will go crazy surrounded by my piles of crap. So hopefully by the end of this video, you will see a beautiful, gorgeous room, but we'll find out. So this is the studio space that I'm currently working with. It's by no means awful, and I have done a lot of work on it. As you can see, that pegboard is totally awesome, but I don't have an organization system. So I've just been piling all of my trash, all of the things people have donated to me on top of each other, and it is not working for me in the slightest bit. And these videos were taken after I had done about an hour of cleaning, so this is as organized as it could get with the system I have. But I was able to find this awesome shelf on Facebook Marketplace. And of course, it was the rainiest day of the year when I went to get it. So we were absolutely soaked. It was $50, and I think it was well worth it. When I got home, I began moving everything to the other side of the room to be dealt with and organized later. And I began building up my shelf, which was a pretty simple peg and screw system. It's not the most sturdy shelf in the world, but it will certainly do the trick for now. It was fairly easy to set up though. I was able to do it all by myself, and I think it fits really well into the color scheme of the room. It matches my pegboard and other shelf pretty perfectly, but I did want to add some accent colors, but I was a little too scared to commit to painting the shelf itself because it's new, so I thought I would make some semi-permanent stickers out of some blue tape to match my wall perfectly. So I just took the exact color from my wall and painted the blue tape. I used a spare piece of tape to be kind of the measuring guide for my little squares. Now I could have done this all the way across the shelf, but I decided to add 3 squares per side, and I used a square piece of tape as a measuring guide for the spaces in between and just did 3 little squares out of blue tape. This is going to stay well but not be completely permanent. So I am about to head to the thrift store. I need some storage for my paper, and then I'm going to see if there's anything cute that I can add to my shelves or just some additional storage. So let's go. I headed to my favorite Goodwill, which always has a ton of storage, and I immediately found these little racks, which are going to be perfect for my 3 different types of paper. So I definitely snagged those, and then they had a million of these. Not really sure what they would actually be for, but I'm going to use them to separate out my prints. They were only $2, and once I got everything home, I cleaned off the shelves really, really well. Ideally, I'd probably sand it maybe and prime it, but I just went in with some straight spray paint. And then I got out some storage that I already had. I'd been using to store my watercolors and also some stuff for my stained glass. But to make everything cohesive, I washed those off and I decided to spray paint those gold as well. We're kind of going for a gold theme in here. You always want to spray paint the back sides of things before doing the top so it doesn't get messed up when you flip it around. Keeping with the gold theme yet again, I found these storage boxes on Amazon, but I could only find ones that had silver accents, so thankfully these came off super easily. I thought I was gonna have to tape around them or do something weird, but they came right off, so I spray painted all of them gold and they turned out so pretty. It's a nice subtle accent, and I was able to easily just pop them back on. I did spray them with some protective sealant because these will be kind of high traffic areas, but I started
filling them up, and I'm finally getting to some organizing.
So I tried my best to organize everything into these bins. We've got a bunch of different sections. This is wood / scrap wood, vessels and containers, polymer clay, dollar store stuff, more vessels / trash, more trash over here, drill, punch needle, which I don't know how to use, light colored yarn, dark and bright colored yarn, and then I have these 2 empty ones. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them just yet. I have some tiles that need to go somewhere, but they don't need to be readily accessed, so I'm not sure if I want to use those. And then I have some stuff for my stained glass and watercolor in these bins. So now it's time to put everything on the shelf in a way that kind of makes sense for me in terms of what I need to be easily accessible, like the polymer clay, and what I don't access every day, like the yarn and the punch needle, because I still don't know how to use it. So let's put all this stuff on my shelves.
I started by putting my printer in a place that I could easily access. All of the middle shelves are going to be stuff I use regularly, and the higher shelves are going to be the yarn and the things I don't use every day. I will probably move stuff around as I get used to it. The next thing I transformed was this storage bin that I found in my trash at my apartment complex a while ago. It was plain white, which was fine, but I'm going for a gold theme, so I spray painted the whole thing gold, as well as these dividers that I got from the thrift store. I had 2 of them, and one of them I put all of my finished wood cuttings that are ready to be painted for my Etsy shop. I sell butterflies and moths, and then I also put prints for my Etsy shop in there, and so now they're all nice and organized. Next up is dealing with this wall. I hung some shelves with command strips, but I wanted to add more.
I just finished up hanging these mirrors. If you saw me do it, you would never trust me with a DIY advice ever again. I'm not great at doing things that have to be mathematical and even, but I still think they look pretty good.
Underneath the shelves, I added this stand, which I made a few weeks ago, and I'm putting my entire spray paint collection under there, so when I'm headed outside to spray paint, I can just grab and go. I wanted to add some disco balls hanging from my ceiling for some extra pizzazz, and also to kind of separate the area where my desk is versus that window. So I drilled up into my ceiling and I added these hooks that are meant for ceilings. They've kind of got wings so they don't fall down. It was a very messy process, and then I used some fishing line to hang the disco balls, and they look so cool in the afternoon light. I developed a method of putting post-it notes on my mirror in front of me with my to-do list, and I wanted to add a little pizzazz to that with some butterflies. So I'll have my to-do lists and then butterflies around them just to make it a little bit prettier. These were prints that I made, and I just added a little bit of paint to them to make them a little brighter. And then I created a list of things I need to do today, things that I could maybe do today, things I want to do later, and videos I need to edit, and I can make post-it notes and kind of move them around my mirror to help me stay organized. To attach everything, I just used some tape. I put the today on the left side, the maybe right in front of me, and the later on the right side. And I just wrote out everything that I need to do, all of my ideas, and I can put them up right in front of me. The main purpose of this mirror actually is when I record YouTubes, I can see if I'm actually in the frame, and if I make earrings, I can kind of hold them up. But this also helps keep me on track. I decided I wanted to make a gold embellishment for the top of a mirror I found on Facebook Marketplace, so I sketched out the top curve of the mirror and marked out how long I wanted it. I looked online for some inspiration for these embellishments. This one is kind of in the style of an anthropology mirror that I really liked. I'm just doing the top one. I'm not doing any other stuff on the mirror. I had already painted the mirror gold a while ago, but I wanted to add this extra little detail. So I cut it out and I traced it onto some poster board. As you can see, I kind of adjusted the design after I tried it on the mirror. And then I very carefully cut it out with an X-Acto knife. This was a bit of a tricky step, but I figured I'm probably going to be covering most of the edges in either hot glue or pearls, but I wanted to spray paint it just to see how it looked first before I added any of my embellishments. and I started going in with some hot glue, doing some designs. I think for this technique, the more stuff you put on it, the better. I threw some pearls along all of the edges and then spray painted it again after I was done, and I think it looks so good. To attach it to the mirror, I started off with some double-sided tape, and surprise, surprise, that ended up not being enough, so I did go back and add some hot glue over the double-sided tape to make sure it stuck, and I think it looks so good. Now it's finally time for the big reveal. Here is the finished product. This shelf makes a world of difference, and the functionality in here is so much better. I finally have a place for all of my stickers where they're away from everything, and I can't wait to expand this wall as I make more stickers. That's kind of the whole point of it. And then my spray paint is super easily accessible right by the door. A ton of stuff from my Etsy shop now lives here and is very accessible. I no longer have stacks of wood or a stack of my prints that I have to shuffle through when I need one. I also am able to have my boxes standing up straight, so I no longer have to bend over, which is great for my back. And all of these prints and pieces of wood are nice and organized, and they're super funky with the disco ball. This mirror is huge. It really opens up the space and adds a lot of light, and I have that new Cricut light, and I love that little detail. I have hanging butterflies, and just to remind you, here is the before and here is the after. This shelf made seriously all the difference. I love the plants on it. And as I was saying, it helps me be super organized. I've had it for about 2 weeks now, and I've loved every single second of it. I feel so much more organized with all of my stuff in my different sections, and I hope it stays this way. Thank you so much for watching, and happy making.